So now you know, Universal Studios Hollywood. That's where I've been the last 10 months. And it was like 32 hours to 24 hours to 8 once in a while, definitely 16, but 40 up to 40 hours a week. Yeah. It's not a very good job if you have kids. This will be Rando pod number 5 or 6. I lose track of my Rando pods, but this is going to be one of them. So yes, if you have a 40-hour job a week, you don't get to see your kids very often or your family. Now, I have no kids, but anybody who does and works these kinds of jobs, you have to know what you're in for. So that was my name tag, which we'll get into a little bit as to why I quit. Um, so, in case you also haven't noticed, I'm sick. I have been sick twice in the past 10 months. And before that, I hadn't been sick in years. I mean, it had been years since I've been sick. And now I've gotten sick in 10 months. And that was after the mandates were gone. So guaranteed people were just not staying at home if they were sick. If you're sick, stay at home. Don't go to Universal Studios. Don't go to Disneyland. Don't go to Knott's Berry Farm or Six Flags or anywhere else. Just don't do that. So what was my job? Well, I was a cleanup attendant. So it's, green shirt, plaid. Sometimes I worked in upper lot, in the New York or Paris area, where you have all the different characters like Beetlejuice. You'd have Lucy, Lucy McGillicuddy, or, the character from Lucy, like I Love Lucy, right? Doc Brown, the taxi cab lady, the New Yorkers, Shrek, Donkey. You'd have who else? Like various characters, right? Scooby Doo characters, the Trolls, Minions. I would work at JCap. I would work at Jurassic World, or I would work in Springfield, The Simpsons. Okay, so I did the interview last July. And then I went into my job. Actually, the orientation was in well, not even the orientation. I guess it was like the introduction was in August, and then in September was when I officially did my orientation to go to work to do training. So training was in September. The orientation was in August. So August, September. And late September, September 27th, was when I started working. And as of yesterday, I quit. I just quit halfway into my 8-hour shift. Something went down. Before I get into that, though, so cleanup attendant is that kind of job. And how you have actors and performers at theme parks. So it's the kind of job where you have two dancers kind of do their... If you go to Universal Studios, you know what I'm talking about. You'll see these two performers do this dance and have this push broom. It's the kind of job where they make a parody. Professionally, not to say that we're stupid or we're losers, but then you wonder why there's always two actors doing the song and dance bit. Da, 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 and then they're just like pretending to clean and shit. And everybody's like, yeah, clapping. But then it's like, do those people actually look at us? I think some of them do. Maybe on one hand, these many people of those audience look at us and say, "Hey, maybe we should say thank you." And some of them did. There were good and bad people. I got tips. I won't get into specifics about that because you're not supposed to get tips. But some people were very polite to me, and I thank those people. I got along better with guests than I did with my coworkers. So my job as cleanup attendant included changing trash bags, compacting, sweeping, break room detail, decor detail. So, polishing and changing all the bags out for all the cans, polishing the cans, disinfecting. We had patio people who cleaned up tables and took trays. We had people who cleaned bathrooms. Our CEO used to clean bathrooms, so now he's in charge of the whole park. I started in Halloween Horror Nights, which meant I didn't see much of the park in the daytime. I saw it at night. We were not allowed to go to Harry Potter. We would get fired. We were not allowed to get into physical altercations with guests or other people. We get fired. We were not allowed to take trash cans down escalators. We would get fired. We were not allowed to have romances with other people. We'd get fired. There's a lot of fireable offenses, even though I would be sure in any job, in any corporation, whether it's theme parks or Nabisco or Target or Walmart, wherever you go, okay? There's always somebody who's going to do something shady. And then they try to say, don't you do that, but it's okay if I do it, right? So that kind of thing happens. And it was always crowded. You have to understand that working at Target or Walmart, working in a small business like a post office shop, a personally owned one, or a stationery store or a Hallmark, or working in a one store place is not the same thing as working in a theme park. There are thousands and thousands of people who are there all the time, a system of different departments. There are different departments in park services, studio tour, Transformers, The Simpsons, characters. What else we got? Tech services, janitors, like graveyard shift janitors. Okay, electricians. I think that's tech services. There's different kinds of people. There's stunt performers. There's actors. There's all kinds of people at Universal, like at Disneyland, like anywhere. But it's such a complex system. Okay. And it's hard because you don't have that space. You don't have that personal space. You're always going to bump into somebody or run into somebody. And it's like running into traffic all the time. And people would crowd the floors all the time. And that was natural, but it was getting aggravating. It really was. But the thing is, like I said before, I always got along with the guests better than with my own coworkers. There was just such a dismissive attitude that people had with me. And to be fair, that happened since I was born. My own family dismissed me as a person. They would pay for my stuff, they would buy me things, and they'll give me a good one in the teeth if I talked out of turn, but they never really knew me. Nobody really does. Hell, not even you guys. They just sit there and write comments. Nobody writes comments, right? Shows how much you know. So yeah, I had a hard time with my coworkers, but I always got along better with the guests, and they always ask me where the bathroom is or where this is. It is monotonous and it is repetitive, but the guests were always patient and polite. It was better than working at McDonald's years ago. But there were nails in the coffin that started to come up. The first one, I will say, was that it's the strange times. When you work at Universal specifically, there's other places that's like that too, but you don't get to choose your hours. You don't get to choose your days. I would have, like when I first started out with Halloween Horror Nights, I would have these days that would you would go from 6:30 all the way to 2:30, but you clock out 18 minutes after if you're in upper lot or 6 minutes if you're in lower. And so that would happen. Let's say on a Thursday you clock out at 2:48. So then you expect to maybe get there on a Saturday, or maybe take a day off, come back on Saturday. Or if you do come back, it's a regular time at 6:30 on Friday. No, they had the schedule. When I started out the first week or two after orientation in September to October, they had 6:30 p.m. or 18:30 to 2:48, and then 10 a.m. on Friday. So I'm supposed to have all these hours to do what? You know what I mean? Like less than 10 hours. Am I supposed to? And so the big supervisor, I don't know his name. We're not going to say his name for legal reasons. The big supervisor was like this. He was like trying to keep a poker face, but you could tell he was upset. I'm like, think about it from my point of view. We're not fodder. This is not Amazon or Lay's potato chips. You remember those stories of the guy who went to sleep for 10 minutes on break and never woke up at Lay's potato chips? And I know about the Great Resignation right now. I do know about that. So I told him, this isn't going to work. I mean, I got to be able to pace myself to go to get my 8 hours of sleep, which I never really got 8 hours of sleep for 10 months, and then come back to work. That was going to be difficult on me. And so I need more time. to come back. I need a regular time to come back, not right away early in the morning after I leave early in the morning. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to clock out at 2:48 and come back the next day at 10 a.m. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. So they said they have to have a 12 to 15 hour break. So he folded his arm. He was like this, like, look at my schedule, dumbass. Like, look at it. Does that not seem strange to you? Does that not seem wrong? And even company policy at Universal says 12 to 15 hours, I think, of time between 8-hour shifts. So if they need me back the next day, coming back at 10 was unreasonable. I don't live close by. You understand? So, I told you all these horror stories about going on the red line train. Part of getting to work is taking the gold line to the fucking shuttle, but then I would take other buses and taking the red line. It would be hard to get buses back home. And Uber and Lyft will not charge cheap. So I had to save my money, save my 30 or 40 bucks every time I needed to get home late. So when you're doing Halloween Horror Nights, you're not staying there till like 12 or 11 o'clock. You're there till 3 or 4 in the morning. And that's hard on people. And people in my orientation quit. So I have bullet points. I'm sorry if I'm... So another nail was that, I think I talked about this before, but this guy that I worked with, we'll call him Tony, though he goes by he goes by a Chip Salsa name in his YouTube. I won't give you the exact name. I won't tell you who he is, unless he fucks me over somehow royally. So he was cock blocking when I was talking to a girl. She watches my YouTube channel, so I won't say who she is. I ultimately don't think that the girl that I was talking to was interested in me. That's okay. I'm 44. I don't care anymore. Fuck me, fuck you. I don't care. It doesn't matter anymore. But when a guy cock blocks another dude from talking to a girl, that's way worse. So that was a nail in the coffin. I talked about this before in a live stream, I think. So I don't go too much into it. So because of the weird hours from coming in from 10, like 2:30 to 10 or like 3 o'clock to 10 o'clock or 3:18 to 10 or whatever it was, okay, whether it was clocking out at 2:48 or 3:18 from 7 o'clock or 6:30, right? And then you come back at 10 in the morning the next day. It was stressing out a lot of people. Now, the people that quit early, as my neighbor and I talked about, some people can be very millennial-ish in that they don't want to do hard work. They don't want to have to pull and push things. I think you have to learn how to do hard work, and you have to learn how to push yourself. If you don't push yourself, you're never going to learn. You're never going to try. Now, 10 months later, here I am, and I quit, but there must have been a reason, right? And like I said, the work was getting excessive, but we'll get into that in a minute. But a lot of people were quitting from my orientation group, not even from my orientation, from my training class. There were people gone. I think like out of maybe 8 people quit. One person right now, who I follow on Instagram, she broke her leg during the grad bash that was going on in June. She's out for like up to 2 months, if not more. She's out. We don't know when. I don't know when she'll come back. If she comes back, we'll talk. If we talk, we'll talk about things later. But other people quit because they couldn't handle the work. I could handle the work, but there was well, we're going to get into it because I have so much to say that I'm trying to say it. Here's 14 minutes in, and I'm trying to say so much to you. So one nail in the coffin was the excessive times that my big supervisor had a problem with, remember? Okay. And then the second nail was the cock blocking by, when I was talking to the girl. And so this is the way my schedule was, is that October, there were 4 nights a week I was working out of 7. So I was working 32 hours. And then November nothing was going on after Thanksgiving. But then the week after Thanksgiving, I think, was when we started coming back 2 to 3 days. So I was able to get some sleep, recover, but it was hard to go back to work and forth. You have to understand that it's 8 hours plus 4 hours. Why? Because if I'm going from East Los Angeles to Hollywood by train and bus, it's 2.5 hours. So it's actually like 5 hours mostly. So it's like 13 hours. So I'm out the whole day. I'm out the whole fucking day. Uh, so November, December was about 16 to 40 hours. January 1st was the last time, and then all winter, the rest of January, February, most of March, I didn't do anything. March 15th was when I did the Mario Kart ride. I was one of the first few people to test out the Mario Kart ride for Super Nintendo World. It was fun. I liked it. I enjoyed it. The artwork wasn't finished, but I enjoyed. So I was one of the first people to test out Mario Kart ride. Then the 24th to 32nd, April to May, it was 24 hours to 32 hours in April to May. So I was working up to 4 days again. But then after May to now, it was 40 hours. 40 hours a week, which in foresight is good, responsible work, no matter where you work. But it was also too much work. It was too much work in that if you live 2.5 hours away by train and bus, by public transit, okay, and you have to put in those 8 hours, and that's not even clear. I did some overtime days, so that happened. So there were nails in the coffin. The strange times, the coworkers being assholes, my big supervisor being an asshole, having to learn new things months later. Why exactly I quit. So our job is to clean up trash. So all the trash cans you see in around the park, we change those bags, and then we compact trash. We take all those bags that we change, and we put them in a Bertha, a giant, a black trash can where you wheel it like a wheelbarrow, and then we take it into a compactor and we bale that trash. We compact it, and then we ship it out. Okay, make it turn into landfill. I guess I don't know. That's how trash works. This is how you learn sausage is made. Okay, so. And people would, I guess, would be trying to toss the trash in without looking at, saying, "Oh, there's no bag there, there's no can there." People are dumb like that. That's just how it is. It can happen anywhere. But what was killing me? So part of my job also was back of the house, which meant you were cleaning and detailing break rooms. Now, break rooms, of course, you have break rooms for every kind of employees. You have break rooms for Transformers employees. You have break rooms for Minions employees, Secret Life of Pets employees. For Park Services, that would be us, upper and lower. You would have break rooms for the actors, the special effects show. You would have break rooms for different kinds of departments, okay? Different departments. And so the first time I did back of house, I was cleaning out 9 break rooms. And I said, "Oh, okay, that's all there." And I thought to myself, "Oh, that's all there is, 9 break rooms." But no, fuck no, because yesterday I had to clean out 5 additional new break rooms, and some of them I didn't even have clearance for. So my team leader had to go and do some of that. So there were some that were listed on the paper that I didn't even have, that weren't even there. So you have like second floor break rooms. There were no second floor break rooms for Minions. There's only third floor. I would see these rooms called the dimming room, the special effect gun room, the green room for performers, but no break room. I'm like, what is this? Is this a joke? And are they giving me this piece of paper as a guide? But is this a joke? Am I being punked after 10 months? Is that how you treat your employees? And then some of those rooms had had number codes on the doors, and I couldn't. And for some straight, and you understand that at this point, I'm sick right now. I was sick yesterday. I had an ear infection on Monday, and a throat infection, then nose infection on Tuesday. And I was lightheaded. I took NyQuil the night before I worked, and I was just like this. I was just like, and for some reason, my paper that I folded nice and neat in the bucket was not in the bucket anymore. I don't know if the wind carried it, whatever. I had a nervous breakdown. I said, I don't know what's going on with me. I can't function. I don't know what's going on. So my supervisor, my big supervisor, the one that had a problem with me with the times, you remember him right now? He got wind of it and pulled me aside. Now I got pulled aside twice in all the 2 months, 10 months that I've been there, okay? Twice in the 10 months. The first time, Daniel, my team leader, nice guy, I have no problem with him, okay? But he had a problem with me when I was cleaning out, when I was taking charge of Take Five, which is a restaurant for employees. So it's a restaurant that's not public, but it's for employees to go and eat after their breaks, during their lunch breaks. And he said, so like he kind of pulls me aside and says, let me talk to you. It's like, how bad were how packed were the cans? And I said, I wouldn't know because I had to spend 10 to 20 minutes trying to get a bag. There was a bag. So when I went to go in the morning to go to Take Five to do, because remember, you're starting 8 hours, right? So sometimes you start in the morning or the afternoon. I started around 11 o'clock in the morning. What do I see? I see a couple of bags, but there was this one bag that was 150 pounds and it was heavy as fuck. And I couldn't pull this thing if I tried. It would take two people to pull this bag. Some dumbass left the bag there. And all these bags from last night, nobody compacted the trash from yesterday to today, which is irresponsible. I don't know which Park Services attendant did that, but that's what they did. They fucked me over and left all that trash. And I said that to him. And I talked to one of the leads and said, oh, well, the only thing that needs to be taken out are the kitchen trash. And that's it. I already checked the trash on the floor. I said, okay. So I spent so the way it works is that you have you have an 8-hour day, right? You have 45 minutes for break, 15-minute breaks. So a total of, I would say, let me think. I would say an hour and 45 minutes of break in between the 8 hours. So I had 2 hours to do my job for Take Five. And so he's saying that, oh, well, you just have to clean the kitchen trash. So I did what I was told. I struggled with the bags that were way too heavy. And then I took all that trash and compacted it. Then I changed the kitchen trash, barely. And that took over the 2 hours. So there was no time to change the outside trash cans or the trash inside the where everybody's eating in the dining area. None of that. And I got chewed out for it. But Daniel took a step back and understood what he was talking about. Or what I was talking about. Because it was ridiculous. So that happened. And then, I talked about Jose, my other team leader, and he said, oh, well, you were supposed to be over here. Well, see that guy, he's doing all your work for you. Like, really? You're going to discredit me? And that was after 6 or 7 months of me doing my work. So I haven't forgotten that fucker either. I talked about that in the live stream. So I mean, like I said, there's people who have a holier than thou attitude. But at Universal, and I won't even say which department, because there's different departments, okay? You would have supervisors allegedly have office babies with their subordinates, okay? And then eventually, those women that become pregnant with the supervisors have to take leave, and then they get points. Now, points are like demerits, but we call them points at Universal, right? So the points system is like, if you get enough points, like 20 to 30 points, they fire your ass, okay? And if you get more than 6 or 7 points, you can't apply for other work at Universal. So if you want to be a studio tour guy, which is what I applied for, and didn't get any calls back for that. And I didn't get any calls back for the other job that I was applying for, which was recruiter or interview specialist, something easier to do at Universal. I got rejection emails. So when I quit at the right time. So that happened. And so yes, there was hypocrisy where supervisors tell you behave like this and behave like that. Meanwhile, what are they doing? So we lost one of our supervisors for the park. I won't say who it was or what it was, but it was something like allegedly having an affair with the subordinate. I guess romance in the workplace is prohibited strongly, and I almost completely agree. I almost completely agree. I mean, yeah, you want to. It's nice to talk to the girl, but you have to be sure you know what you're doing before you dip your pen in the company ink. And that was just way too much. I mean, way too much. Anyway, so my other applications didn't work out, and the truth is, I really got this job because park services, they need people all the time. Other jobs like tour guide or stunt performer or interview specialist, they only have one position open, whereas park services, they have many across the board. So of course I was going to get the job because they needed people. But when you see the way they treat you, it's just the way it is. They don't treat you well, then you leave or quit at some point. But I think if you quit too early, you're this millennial that can't do shit, right? You can't till the fields. You can't pick up a rake or a broom or a shovel and get to work, right? If you're there too long, you're like the Lay's potato chip employee. You just drop dead on the job. So where is the middle point, right? Um, but the real truth is, and besides the fact that my supervisor, so when I had the nervous breakdown yesterday, my supervisor got in my face and said, "Is everything all right with you? Let's have a talk in the back." You already know that's not good. So he talked about my name. Now, Drake is the name that I go by that's not legally on my birth certificate. And but when they ask you in the applications, do you go by a different name? Well, that would have to be respected, right? I mean, are they just asking you to ask you, or are they asking you because they want you to you want to go by a different name when you are on the job? That's what I'm assuming, right? And that's what HR would agree to, and I would agree to, and everything would be square. No, that's not what's happening. So what happened was he picked on me about this when that had nothing, fuck all, to do with my breaking down because I lost the paper to know the number code to go to a break room that was brand new to me, and I'm still sick, to finish my job, to finish my back of the house break room detailing and cleaning for the day yesterday. So after he talked to me and tried to put me in my place, I sat there and I said, yeah, that's it. I'm done. So I quit right there. Yesterday I quit as of 2:15 in the afternoon yesterday. I was fucking done. So yeah, I don't give out my real name because my real name is too particular online and people can find me and my house, and I don't want people to do that. You saw Boogie Stephen Williams pull out a gun on somebody because he was coming to the house unannounced. Oh, I mean, yeah, Boogie's a weird person. He's out there. He's way out there to be relatable, but that was bullshit. Anyway, Frank is an idiot. Frank Castle. But I think besides the fact that I got into a fight with my supervisor, not even a shouting match, but just he let this go for 10 months. I was Drake for 10 months, and now he had a problem with it, even though that wasn't the reason why I called to get help about cleaning the rooms, because I lost the piece of paper that had the passcodes to go into break, because some break rooms require my ID card, which I had to give up for at time of quitting. So you have a card that has a barcode that you slide to go into work, to enter the park, to go to locker rooms, and to go into certain rooms to clean up break rooms. But other ones required a number code. And so it's a broken system. The truth is, we don't look out for each other. We don't help each other. We pick these high school friends, these high school chums we talk to all the time, but we don't look out for each other. We don't help each other. We don't welcome each other. We just dismiss people who are not cool enough to talk to us, and we go off our separate ways. That's how it always is. People never really spoke with me. It's just high school shit, like I said. The thing about Universal, they hire anybody, and you may think, well, what's the big deal about my name? There's a person, Melissa, who I believe is a hospital-born male and is now a female. So he would probably be called she or they. I don't make fun of that person. Do I think Melissa's better as a male? Personally, yes. But that's not my call. If Mel wants to be Melissa and wants to be addressed as a female or they, that's that's the way it is these days. You just got to respect that. Identity politics is important to a certain point, but it is important for people to be respected. So much like Melissa from Mel, from my legal name to Drake, that was why it was important. But they hired anybody, including people with Down syndrome. There was a guy that would go like this, and he would just walk around a little bit crazy during lunch breaks. And he was just out there. He would leave. I think it was him that left trash bags on the ground. They would be super heavy. And like, there was just people who were just unreliable. But I want to make one thing clear as I wrap this up. I don't regret the time I was working there. I don't. I think it was a good experience to really work hard. It was just there was a lot of bullshit attached to it. And after 10 months, you start to see that it's not your fault, that there's something wrong with the system. The system was killing me. And that's why I didn't become a lead. There was promotional jobs to become a lead for park services, but it requires more hours, more time, more. Even if you're not there 10 hours out of 8, you have to be there more often than just 8 hours. If you have to know where things are, you have to be more reliable, and probably on call. I never put myself on call because I don't live a hair's breadth away from the damn park. I live 4 or 5 cities away, and it takes 2.5 hours to get to the park from here. Okay, I would race on my scooter, race to the train station, race to the shuttle or whatever bus would take me to Union Station, go to Union Station, race to the train stations, race up I would go up and downstairs over the overpass just to get to the tram, just to get to the city walk, just to get to work all the time. And 40 hours a week, that was just going to be impossible. Minions, Rise of Gru, Jurassic World Dominion, those movies didn't pan out. Nope would probably do okay, probably get mixed reviews. Mario, how I feel. Might probably fail not. So Universal will live on its past glories. I mean, I think Black Phone did all right. I think, but I had the best sleep ever. I slept very well. I slept for about 14 hours after I quit. I was so sick. I took NyQuil and I went right the fuck to sleep. I had some Japanese food before. I just really wanted to get out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a week off, and then I'm going to try to see about jobs for the fall. And I'm just going to work closer to home. If I have to do this kind of work, I'd rather do it closer to home in a smaller capacity. And anybody who has a problem with this, you better make it known to me fucking there at that moment, not 10 months later. Fuck you. All right? But